Okay, guys, we have so much to go over today, and I don't even have that much time because I'm poor and I can only make 20-minute videos because I don't have the space. And I am tender-headed. I used to not be. The older you get, the more tender-headed you get. So this is really hurting. My head's going ba-boom, ba-boom. But we're going to get to it. I've been jotting down, not everything, but most everything that's been going on with the mass deportations lately. It's kind of like my Super Bowl. Okay, so let's look at the first thing I have on the list. Okay, so it all started, remember that whole mess they had in Mexico? Remember when the other administration was in charge? They had the CBP1 app, and that app was, oh my God, it was such a mess. Since they have demolished it, I think Trump has gotten rid of it. But what it was an app for immigrants to come over to America to claim asylum. Now, this app didn't start the process of you becoming a legal citizen. Oh no, it can't do that. But everyone thinks it's everyone from Mexico and it's just a bunch of Mexicans. But this app was any criminal from other countries. You could be from Haiti, you could be from Venezuela, any country, any criminal from another country. If you come to another country illegally, then you are a criminal. Anywho's, how this app used to work is you would go onto the free app. You would say you want to come to America, and you would wait until your time slot where you would get a plane ticket, a boat ticket, Brought to you by the American people, our taxpayer dollars. We would, fly you over to Mexico City, where there would be a tent city outside with a bunch of people from tons of different countries waiting in this tent city in Mexico City, waiting for another said plane ticket or boat ticket by the American people to then send you over to America. And all the gifts didn't just stop then. Once you get to America, then you get free health care. Not like the American citizens do, but you do. And you get free housing, you get some food stamps, you get to eat. Isn't that nice? Wow. America's great, isn't it? Well, once Trump got into office and started the mass deportation, he started sending all the criminals back to Mexico. And then Mexico had an issue with it. They're like, wait, these people aren't from our country. Why are you sending them here? And it's like, yeah, but you use your port of entry to sneak them into America. Are you, what?
Donald Trump's administration isn't just deporting Latinos like the media makes it seem. They're deporting people from different countries, including China and India. There's flights going out every single day, so why don't you hear about it? Why is it that when people say illegal immigrant, people automatically assume Latino? One, I would blame the media as well as the DNC. Mainstream media is only making a big deal out of Latinos getting deported, not anybody else, which is odd, right? Why is that important? Why is that relevant? Because that's the information most people consume. So if you're only showing them a small part of the picture, they think the entire picture is that one small part. So people have learned to associate Latino with illegal immigrant. There's been Latinos in this country since this country was formed. There's certain states that were part of Mexico that are not part of the U.S. Why do I partially blame the DNC as well? Well, because they pay influencers. And that's how they've won the Latino vote, by associating illegal immigrant with Latinos, which I think is racist. You're assuming that all Latinos are illegal.
This is the greatest time to be alive. So now Trump is showing every other country the meaning of fuck around and find out with tariffs and trading and how we, work businesses with other countries going forward. Like with Colombia, we all saw what happened when they didn't want to take their criminals back. Donnie is so gangster. Remember when he posted the meme to Colombia, FOFO? Colombia changed their mind in less than an hour. Fuck around and find out.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Only traitors and terrorists help invaders. I wrote something down left back in the day.
We need slaves to work in the crops.
Now today left say
we need illegal immigrants to work in the crops.
It's the same difference. You just changed the name.
A question because one of the reasons that President Trump got elected, according to President Trump in an interview, I think it was with Kristen Welker of NBC, was because of grocery prices. Not the only reason, but a reason: high prices, inflation, especially at the grocery. The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want to do. So how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally doesn't end up hurting Americans who want safe borders, absolutely, but also don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not your position, Jake, you're just asking the question, that we should supply America's food with exploitative illegal alien labor. I obviously don't think that's what you're implying. Only 1% of alien workers in the entire country work in agriculture. The top destination for illegal aliens are large cities like New York, like Los Angeles, and small industrial towns, of course, all across the heartland, as we've seen with the Biden floods. None of those illegal aliens are doing farm work. Those 30,000 illegal aliens that Joe Biden dumped into Springfield.
I'm talking about the ones that are.
But I'm explaining this. It's important to understand.
No, you're kind of changing the subject. I mean, I'm talking about the ones.
I will give me 30 minutes. I'll go as deep as you want this. I'm explaining to you and your audience.
I don't have a I'm talking about the ones that work in the agriculture industry.
I'm
you
explaining
can come back
to you
and we
your
can talk
audience.
about the ones in the cities. I swear.
I'll do the whole answer. The illegal aliens that Joe Biden brought into our country are not full stop doing farm work. They are not. The illegal aliens he brought in from Venezuela, from Haiti, from Nicaragua, they are not doing farm work. They are in our cities collecting welfare. As for the farmers, there is a guest worker program that President Trump supports. Over time as well, we will transition into automation, so we'll never have to have this conversation ever again. But there's no universe in which this nation is going to allow the previous president to flood our nation with millions and millions of illegal aliens who just get to stay here. And we are especially not going to allow a subset of those illegal aliens to rape and murder our citizens. So we are going to unapologetically enforce our immigration laws, and as I'm sure you will celebrate, we are going to unleash the power and might of the U.S. government to eradicate the presence of transnational threats on our soil.
Illegal immigrants and slaves are the same thing. We're promising, we're going to promise to pay you. It's not going to be the best pay. It's the same thing we did with slaves. They're still slaves. And then you always have the left.
Well, if we didn't have illegal immigrants, then Americans would have to do those jobs no one wants to do and be paid more.
Exactly. Helping the middle class and lower class Americans. Helping our economy and raising up our middle class.
What exactly do you think about undocumented immigrants?
Yeah, so illegal aliens, yeah. They should all be deported.
Right. But, so what would you say about, like, the dairy industry and things like that, which, like, their backs are built off of undocumented immigrants?
Hire American.
Hire American? Yeah, but, then we'd have to, like, pay them more, because
exactly.
Right now...
We would have to pay them more, and we would see higher wages, and the middle class in America would boom.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, like, fight against higher wages. Why is that exactly?
Well, I'm sure corporations fight against higher wages. That's why they want a bunch of foreigners to take American jobs and keep wages low. Because they don't want to pay their workers because it might decrease their profitability.
So you are pro higher wages?
Of course. I want people that work in the dairy industry or at Tyson Foods or that work with their hands to be able to flourish and buy a home and have an American way of life that is largely forgotten now for many of them.
So, what do you exactly classify as an American? Like, what if it's someone who did come, like, legally?
U.S. passport holder.
Okay, but even if they, like, came here legally?
If they go through a process, they can get a U.S. passport, yeah.
Okay, so pro higher wages for Americans?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Forcing these corporations to pay Americans more, forcing these corporations to step up, and which helps our middle class and lower income in America, helping Americans.
I have an excellent idea. Let's change the subject.
Then we have all these celebrities fake crying, like Selena Gomez, completely missing the whole plot.
People are getting
Selena, why are you crying about criminals? Why aren't you crying about the over 300,000 migrant children that went missing under Biden? And all the women and children that got raped and murdered by illegal immigrants, the criminals you are crying about. I mean, even Dr. Phil is out here on the streets making sure all these sex offenders get deported. And you're over here crying that we're making them leave?
Sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. And he's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall the problem with a sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with.
Ooh, and the first press secretary lady, Caroline Levitt, she said it best at her first press secretary briefing thingy.
Caroline, on immigration. Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You may have one with the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing. If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal. Yes.
Thank you. On
her first brief was just a breath of fresh air, wasn't it now? It's like just so much worries like just lifted off our shoulders.
2 days ago, I posted a video about the Trump deportations in which I stated that every country deports people who illegally cross their borders. And I mentioned Denmark, the country that I live in, as an example. Now I noticed something interesting among the 16,000 comments on the video. Of course, I didn't read all of them, but from what I saw, over 95% of them got it, as it's a fact, not an opinion. But the other 5%, who are probably educated liberals, had the best takes, and I want to address a few of them, but there were many more comments among that 5%, all implying the same thing, okay? I believe that Europe has open borders now. You don't need a passport. You don't need a visa to travel in Europe if you are from Europe. What are you talking about? Open travel doesn't translate to open residency. You can't just move to another European country and live there, wait for it, without legal status. So you just wasted internet to say nothing. Where is Trump's family from? His wife from? Fuck Elon Musk from? Trump's wife and Elon Musk migrated to US legally. You are oversimplifying it. People have an issue with randomly selecting strangers off the street that are not white and deporting them. Well, not many white people are living illegally in US, and when they do, it's often because they overstay their visa. However, they can still be tracked because they have entered the country legally, and they will get a call to fix their situation or leave the country. So, logically, you would prioritize those who entered illegally. I think it's how it's done. Does your country demonize Germans? Do you guys deport them because there is a rhetoric that they are all criminals? Some Germans move to Denmark to work, and vice versa. Danish people move to Germany to work. But they do it legally. And you would know that if you stopped watching CNN, okay? You see, the US is not Denmark. We are a melting pot of immigrants that make it what it is today. Texas alone is 14% bigger than you. It's a US thing. We don't expect you to understand. So shut up. They should come in legally, like everywhere else. But I would argue that if a given immigrant has the same intelligence level as yours, even legally they should not be allowed to enter the country. So, looking at these comments, it's pretty clear that the backlash against Trump's deportations comes from people who either aren't very smart or simply hate deportations because Trump is implementing them. Which in both cases indicates that they are not very smart because their feelings towards Trump cloud their perception of reality.
There's all these protesters. There's this gang. I don't know. I wrote down notes. It's a vegan trans terrorist cult. I don't know. Did I write that correctly? Mental illness is dangerous, man. They're called the Ziz cult, the Whiz Kid trans cult. I don't know. They're all vegans. They're causing riots, killing Border Patrol agents. One of them even killed her parents, I heard. Of course, LA is having tons of riots, blocking traffic, violence, throwing rocks at cars, and all these crazy people throwing rocks at your car, blocking traffic, protesting. If you don't stand with them politically, they're going to get violent. And that's pretty much just fascism.
So I just got told that my Hispanic card is being revoked because I don't agree with people burning the flag of a place they want to stay in while raising the flag of a place they love so much but are protesting because they don't want to go back there. Anyway, if there are any other race openings, I guess I'm looking for a new one.
I've been talking for a long time. I need some water. So I was hoping that this was only going to happen in like brain dead LA or New York or like Colorado with all the protesting and stuff. Well, not even Colorado, because Colorado got to see, you know, all the gangs take over their apartment complex, you know, the illegals. They probably know how to vote now after that shit. Okay, so I thought all the protesting and rioting was going to be in like LA and New York and all the retarded areas. But guess what? I'm over here in Arizona looking at Glendale. I mean, Glendale's ghetto. Like, I don't put it past Glendale. Like, people in like the Phoenix area, we don't go to Glendale. If you visit Arizona, don't go to Glendale. So yeah, it's happening in my own backyard. There's protesting here too. Now, Trump put a 25% tariff on all imports from Mexico and Canada, but it's on hold for a month to see if Mexico is going to keep their promises and help us with the border. They sent 10,000 troops to help us at the border with the fentanyl crisis. I know many of us have been touched in the worst way by fentanyl in our life, and we need to get it off our streets immediately. And so it's on hold for a month, the 25% tariff, unless they don't keep their promises. So we'll see how all that goes.
It's so funny to see this repeated cycle of Trump announcing tariffs and then the left freaking out like the world's about to end, and then the tariffs working exactly as intended. Trump announces tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and almost immediately, Canada and Mexico turn around and announce that they will both be sending 10,000 troops each to the U.S. border to enhance border security. Colombia doesn't accept the people that we deported whenever they get there. Trump announces tariffs to incentivize Colombia to straighten up and change their behavior. Almost immediately, Colombia says, "Just kidding, we'll take them." Newsflash, tariffs are working. It's just weird to see so many Americans wishing for these tariff-driven negotiations to fail. Like, you realize that affects you too, right? But you would rather an economic disaster occur than, God forbid, you have to admit that you were wrong about Trump. Like it or not, these tariff-driven negotiations are working. And all of the concessions that we as a country are getting from other countries will benefit you too. You can either celebrate with us, or you can continue being a negative Nancy naysayer and living in a bubble of misery.
Justin Trudeau tried to bribe us with maple syrup, saying that we're not going to have maple syrup anymore. And everyone's going into their cupboards and stuff, reading their maple syrup. Like, Americans, our syrup's made in America. We don't get our syrup from Canada.
No. Okay. Chicago.
Liberalism failed in the West because of identity politics, and it's time for liberals to wake the fuck up. That shit is stupid. No one cares about your identity. The only people who care about your identity are you and probably the person you're fucking, but other than that, no one gives a shit. And it's stupid to give a shit about your identity That shit's random. You didn't choose to be what you are. I didn't choose to be white. You don't choose to be black, gay, Asian, trans, whatever the fuck you are. That shit's literally random. And taking pride in something that is random is no different than going to Vegas, playing blackjack, getting dealt a 6 and a 7, and going, I'm proud to be a 6 and a 7. And some of you are like, well, people don't want me to be proud of who I am. Well, tough shit. People are going to hate you regardless. People hate MLK, people hate Mother Teresa, people hated Jesus Christ. It doesn't fucking matter who you are, you're gonna have haters. But if you root your entire fucking identity in some random ass shit, you're being a fucking idiot. It's literally why pride is a sin. You are taking credit for shit you had nothing to do with. But the reality of the situation is, you're just the proletariat. You're working class motherfuckers. But every time you put a new label on yourself, you forget, and you have something new to bicker about, which benefits the bourgeoisie and the elite. There's no such thing as gay proletariat, black proletariat, white proletariat, Asian proletariat, trans proletariat. That shit's not real. It's just the proletariat. And you know who knows this? The bourgeoisie. They're fucking well aware, right? But as long as you dipshits are too busy focusing on who I am and I'm so special, you're gonna fucking lose. You're gonna lose nonstop. That's why the Democratic Party is such a dumpster fire, because you guys don't know how to fucking win. Identity politics allows for people who feel disenfranchised to talk down to other people. And when you talk down to people, you lose the crowd.
America isn't a white nation. That's what makes us so cool. We've always been a mixing pot. If you come over legally, you can stay. We have tons of cultures, tons of religions, tons of beliefs. But that doesn't mean we have to hate each other. Like, I'm pretty sure like most people in China all get along. If you eat the same thing, if you have the same religion, the same beliefs, there's not much to argue about. But living in a country with so many different cultures and beliefs is a gift. It's beautiful. And if we all treated each other like a gift, then we can all share our gifts with each other in this country. But, you know, division always happens, and that's understandable with human nature. But in the same breath, your race is the least important thing about you. You didn't work for it. Be proud of something you worked for. If you like this one, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one. Boy, 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 boy.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What?